guys, good morning. This is going to be a little tutorial on the Khan Academy assignments. Let me tell you what I think you need to do, okay? I have the Google Classroom set up now that everything's in the classwork section. And if you just follow it along, first one is the video with the notes and homework. Do that first. Then go right down the list. You can check that you've completed them as you go. That helps you keep organized throughout the week because I know some of you are struggling to figure out what you have and have not done. When you start the Khan assignments, click on the first one. Then I need you to click the link, which should take you directly to your Khan Academy. When you click on that, make sure that in the upper right-hand corner you see your name. If you don't, you need to log into Khan through Google first and then go back to your Google Classroom and try it again. The assignment that you click on will come right up in the main window. If it's a video, click play. You have to watch it all the way to the end. Guys, and I'm assigning those because they're helpful to you. So watch the video, and when you are done with the video, there will be a part that says right in the it's towards the top, it says, I think something like up next or coming next. I want you to click that and it will start something else. I don't need you to watch the next thing, but when the next thing starts, click pause or end. Then X out of Khan. Go back to your Google Classroom, mark whatever you just did as complete, and move on to the next one. Same thing. Okay, so use your Google Classroom to make sure you're in the right assignments. Now, I want to go over some examples that will help you with this week's Khan, okay? If I said to you this, you have two dice, two different dice, okay? We're going to pretend one is red and one is green, okay? They're two different dice, and that's the key here. And I said, I want to know when you roll these two dice, what is the probability that you get at least 1 5? At least 1 5. Now, this is not one, order matters because you've got a red dice and a green dice. So you need to think of the complete, the total possibilities. You've got 6 possibilities on the red, 6 on the green. 6 times 6 is 36. So if I sat here and listed all the possibilities, you'd get a 1 and a 1, a 1 and a 2, a 1 and a 3, etc. and so on. I'm not going to do all of that, but there would be 36 of them because then I do a 2 and a 1, a 2 and a 2, a 2 and a 3. You get the idea. Now, we want at least 1 5. So I'm going to go down here, a 1 and a 4, a 1 and a 5, a 1 and a 6. So this row, if I listed all the possibilities, would be a 2 and a 5, a 3 and a 5, a 4 and a 5, a 5 and a 5, a 6 and a 5. Actually, you know what? Let's just list all these. This is a 2 and a 4, a 2 and a 5, 2 and a 6, a 3 and a 1, a 3 and a 2, a 3 and a 3, a 3 and a 4, a 3 and a 5, a 3 and a 6, a 4 and a 1, a 4 and a 2, a 4 and a 3, a 4 and a 4, a 4 and a 5, a 4 and a 6, a 5 and a 1, a 5 and a 2, a 5 and a 3, a 5 and a 4, a 5 and a 5, a 5 and a 6, a 6 and a 1, a 6 and a 2, a 6 and a 3, a 6 and a 4, a 6 and a 5, and a 6 and a 6. So that is all my possibilities. That's where you can just do the math. 6 times 6 is 36. There are 36 possible outcomes, okay? That's all the outcomes. You can always just multiply how many outcomes you have on all your events. Now, we want to know how many of these outcomes have at least 1 5. So I'm going to start circling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I already counted that one. 11. So, what is the probability of getting at least 1 5? It is 11 out of 36. Now, you need to think about the entire sample space when you're doing events that order matters, okay? And in this case, it's a tricky one because when they say 2 dice, you really think getting a 5 and a 1 is the same as getting a 1 and a 5, but technically it's not. All right, so that was one of the more challenging problems. Another one that kids are struggling with is this. All right, it's the pirate ship problem. So if we say we've got a captain of a boat, and when he shoots at a pirate ship, he hits the pirate ship with a probability of 3/4. So 3/4 of the time he hits the pirate ship. Now, the pirate, he's got a bad eye. So when he tries to shoot the captain ship, he only hits it. The probability of a hit is only 1 out of 5 because he's got a bad eye. So the captain is hitting the pirate ship with a probability of 3 out of 4, and the pirate is hitting the captain's ship with 1 out of 5 probability because he's got a bad eye. So if I said, what is the probability that they both hit? So probability of a hit times probability of a hit. Remember, you always multiply. Well, they gave us the probability of a hit. So the captain hits 3/4. I wrote this wrong. Probability of a hit is 3/4 times the probability that a pirate hits is 1/5 because they said, what if they both hit? So 3/4 times 1/5 is 3/20. Now, if I change the problem and I said, what is the probability that the captain hits and the pirate misses? Pirate misses. Okay, so the captain is hitting. They gave us probability of hitting, that's 3/4 times. Now, here's the part that is messing kids up. They told us that the probability the pirate hit is 1 out of 5. Well, think about that. If they're hitting 1 out of 5, isn't the probability of a miss going to be 4 out of 5? So you either hit or miss. If you're hitting 1 out of 5, that means you're missing 4 out of 5. So if I'm doing probability that the pirate or the captain hits and the pirate misses, it would be 3/4 times 4/5, which ends up being 3/5 because I can reduce. 4 goes into 4 once, into 4 once. All right. If they both miss, probability that the captain misses times probability that the pirate misses. Okay, well, let's go back up here. So the probability that the captain hits is 3 out of 4. So if he's hitting 3 out of 4, isn't his miss 1 out of 4? So missing 1 out of 4 times, we already figured out pirate missing is 4 out of 5. This would end up being 1/5. So that's how you do that type of problem. I'm going to do one more example, and this is the foul shot one. All right, so let's pretend you're shooting foul shots, and you make your foul shots 75% of the time. You make them 75% of the time. And I'm going to say you're going to hit, the chance of you missing doesn't change during the course of a game. What is the probability that you are going to make 5 in a row? Make 5 in a row. Well, we multiply our probabilities. 75%, isn't that the same as 0.75? Move the decimal to the left. So wouldn't I do 0.75 times 0.75 times 0.75 times 0.75 times 0.75? Because we're making 5 free throws. Probability you make 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Another way to write this is 0.75 raised to the 5th power. Now, that's the probability that you make 5 in a row. Now, here's the one that is really throwing kids off. What if I said, what is the probability that you miss 5 in a row? Now, let's think about this. If you make them 75% of the time, don't you miss them 25% of the time? Making 75% is the same as missing 25%. Isn't that the same as 0.25? Now, I got to show you something because in Khan, they're writing this a different way. So this would really be 0.25 to the 5th. But that is not the way they're showing it. They're showing it like this. How are we coming up with this number up here? Aren't we doing 100% minus 75% gives me 25%. We just did that mentally. Isn't that the same as 1 minus 0.75 equals 0.25? So the way Khan is showing this, one of their choices will be the quantity 1 minus 0.75 to the 5th power. That's the same as 0.25 to the 5th. All right, I hope this helps you guys with Khan this week. And remember, if you have other questions, let me know.